what goals did you set for 2025? If better sleep is one, Symbiotica's magnesium L-threonate helps you wake up refreshed. For gut health, their glutathione supports digestion and reduces bloating. Symbiotica is one of the most transparent brands out there, never compromising on quality or sourcing. Their products are free from seed oils, preservatives, toxins, and artificial additives, something you can taste and feel in every packet. Go to Symbiotica.com and use code iHeart for 20% off and free shipping. That's Symbiotica.com, code iHeart.
Hey, it's Bobby Bones with some exciting news. Open booking is here for the Top Shelf Country Cruise, setting sail February 2026 aboard the luxurious Celebrity Reflection. Spots are filling up fast, so book your stateroom today or sign up to become a lineup insider to receive the final lineup 48 hours prior to the public. Don't miss your chance to make February 2026 unforgettable. Visit TopShelfCountryCruise.com. That's TopShelfCountryCruise.com.
See, I love the show, but it's like, dude, did you have to reenact the historical event first? Just put out a damn episode already.
I mean, it is super well edited.
No, it's
Again!
What?
Again!
Jesus.
Hey, Noah. Hey, Cecil.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys. What's up?
Okay. I'll bite. Why is Tom strapped to a chair with electrodes on his testicles?
Ooh, this.
You're talking about the testicles and the electro. Okay, yeah. We're doing the Stanford experiment this week, and Eli was like, I would never go mad with power. And Tom was like, yeah, me neither. No problem.
Right.
Okay, and the moment Eli got in power, he made you tie Tom to a chair and shock his balls? Jesus, Eli, really?
The fuck?
Oh, no. I haven't had my turn yet. Tom's in charge still.
And this time doesn't count. Guys, again.
My arm is tired. I quit the prison.
Looks like somebody skipped Wang Day.
Hello, and welcome to Citation Needed, the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts. Because this is the internet, we're keeping this, and that's how it works now. I'm Heath Enright, and I'll be your tour guide through this week's effort to see how many voices you need on a podcast before you have too many. But to do that, I'll need the help of 4 more voices. First up, give a warm welcome to a meth head extra on CSI and a metrosexual lumberjack, Noah and Cecil.
Thank you. I kind of feel like all the meth heads are extra, right? I mean, there's no required minimum.
And I only chop down free-range artisan trees.
And also joining us tonight are the only 2 men in the world to be awarded preemptive and retroactive restraining orders. Welcome, Tom and Eli.
Yeah, I'm actually collecting them. Although I may have misunderstood punch card.
Oh,
that is not what it sounds like. It's not.
Look,
Too far.
To be fair, I am the first person to go back in time to grab a dude's junk, so I get it. I do get it. What would you do to Hitler? There were 2, by the way. 2. Common myth.
All right. Well, as ready as we obviously are to go off the rails, before we do, I want to thank all the people who support the show on Patreon.com. If you're feeling generous like them, be sure to stick around till the end for details on how to help us out. And with that out of the way, tell us, Cecil, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event will we be talking about today?
Today we'll be talking about the Stanford prison experiment.
All right. And Noah, you read the article on this one. Are you ready to synthesize some information from the internet for us?
It is one of my life goals, Heath.
So, what was the Stanford prison experiment, Noah?
The thinly veiled misanthropy of a sadist, Heath.
All right. Let me rephrase that. How is the Stanford prison experiment different from the notes you put in your Christmas cards?
Great question. Great question.
Less festive.
Great answer, actually.
You've obviously never had a holiday dinner with my ex-in-laws, Eli.
Yet. Guys, this movie where I marry Tom's ex-wife to get his alimony back is coming together.
Ice Age 7.
I fully support. Ice Age 7.
Something tells me I'm into something.
So the Stanford prison experiment was an attempt to investigate the psychological effects of perceived power, which focused on the relationship between prisoners and prison guards. It was conducted over a 6-day period in August of 1971. The subjects were college students. The man in charge was named Philip Zimbardo, and the folks footing the bill were the U.S. Office of Naval Research.
College boys in the 70s, a fake prison, the Navy. I like where this is going.
I thought you might.
I just wonder if they got to wear the blackface Halloween costumes. To fit the prison theme.
If they did, we know that Cecil would be totally fine with it and think it wasn't snarky. Call 3 years backward. 3 years backward.
Hold on, though, Eli. Eli, was it conceptual blackface?
Isn't it all?
The Office of Naval Research, what a crazy time. The whole office dedicated to examining belly buttons. I love it.
It's as though even then they knew podcasts were coming. So basically, here's the idea, right? You get a bunch of volunteers that need extra credit for school or whatever, and you let some of them psychologically torture the other ones until even the most ephemeral shed of human decency won't allow you to continue, and then you fill out some charts, you write a paper, some sciencey shit at the end to justify it.
I want to go back in time and redo the science fair. I feel like I missed an opportunity. This is bullshit.
They flunk you for this, actually, as it turns out, Tom.
I don't care. No, it's not for the grade. I don't care about the grade.
All right, so we got a fraternity initiation with an abstract. Got it.
Pretty much.
I guess the obvious follow-up question is, why the fuck would somebody do that?
Boy, the questions are just different when Eli isn't hosting, aren't they?
We're just never going to release that episode on Jean-Benet Ramsey, are we?
We're not.
Eli, some things we need to save for after civilization ends so they'll know why.
I don't know. I'm with Eli. I think people have a right to know what Hillary did.
Thank you.
Edit point.
It's Jelly Fente.
Oh, shit. They're calling Comey back now. They're calling Comey back to the stand now. Hey, hold on a second. Got some more questions for you. So, yeah. Now, this whole thing, the Stanford prison experiment, was meant as a follow-up to the well-known Milgram experiment. Now, honestly, that by itself could be its own episode, and who knows how quick the well's going to run dry, so I'm not going to go into a lot of details on that one here. But suffice to say, it's a famous psychological study that showed that we're way more a bunch of miserable fucks than we like to admit.
You don't need an experiment for that. Just put people in a room and have them assemble IKEA furniture together. You put the Horgan against the flomp and you twist the screws there.
That doesn't fit there.
It does. You just have to turn it around.
Each side is identical. I told you.
They are not. That one side has a little dongly bit on it.
They're only different because you snap that piece off the other side. What are you talking about?
I didn't snap it off, you asshole. Look, I took the piece off because it's missing the cork. If you put that on the other bottom of the flump, it's going to bridge the gap.
That's way too fucking wide. It's never going to fit. Look, just
Jesus
look at
Christ,
your
you're a
eyes.
fucking imbecile. Of course it
will not fit.
It
Look
will
at it.
Fit.
Oh, finally, I can put this thing together in peace. Fuck me, it does fit. No way.
Really? That's not how me and Tom do it. Hey, Tom, you want to buy pre-made furniture like adults with dignity?
I would.
Or even how Noah does it.
I don't need no furniture in the first place. A floor.
Floor.
Yeah, no, the Milgram experiment was like that. Now, at the outset here, it was the pre-IKEA. It's where they got the idea. Yeah. So I want to emphasize here that there was a sound scientific question at the bottom of this experiment. And despite the jokes I've already made to the contrary and the ones yet to come, nothing I can find in his future biography actually suggests that Philip Zimbardo is a bloodthirsty psychopath. And if the reason I'm saying that isn't already obvious, don't worry, it will be.
Yeah, I feel like that's the nicest version of the neighbors all thought he was just a little quiet. Just quiet.
He kept to himself.
I gotta say, spoiler alert, when your first try goes wrong, I feel like all your other experiments are going to be like, who likes marshmallows the bestest?
I feel like that was directed at me. I am not welcome back at the Stanford dining halls. Did not go well.
All right, so
It was me, though. I liked them the bestest. Just for the record. I do.
Heath is just like coming back in. Are you guys doing that marshmallow experiment again?
I won. Reigning champ.
You don't
Reigning
even have to pay me.
We doing the jail thing too?
Everyone else was 4.
So let's
Nonetheless, I won.
I persisted.
it's like me with karate, Eli. It's like me and karate. So let's get back to that sound scientific question at the heart of this whole thing. The Navy wanted to test the hypothesis that the likelihood of a guard to abuse a prisoner was a byproduct of inherent personality traits, right? In other words, if you're trying to prevent prisoner abuse, is it enough to just weed out the sadistic people? And of course, if you're going to study prison abuse, you're going to have to make some in the lab to start.
Yeah, legitimate scientific question. I mean, you ever try to persuade somebody really moral to commit atrocities? Takes forever. It's better just to hide a right.
Water everywhere.
Black water?
Yeah, right. So they set out getting volunteers for a 2-week mock prison experiment, and they were pretty upfront about what they were doing. They're like, hey guys, you want to be in prison for 2 weeks?
Well, I do like dropping this soap. Yeah, sure. Why the hell not?
Yeah, right. Now, it's worth noting that the participants here were all male, mostly white, mostly middle class, and most of this is probably because that's the only people that psychological researchers gave a fuck about back then.
Also because this is Palo Alto, California.
Well, yeah.
You're either white, Asian, or at work and commuting back home later.
Yeah, right. Fair. And also, I'm guessing that poor people and black people are way less likely to think of prison as a fun way to make $15 a day.
Plus, I can imagine the Asian American population of 1971 wasn't big on checking out the Navy's experimental jail.
Yeah, you know what they say, fool me once.
Not what they say. So they pick
That
out
is what they
24
say.
volunteers. And they randomly assign half of them the role of prisoner, half of them guard. Actually, each category, it's got 9 people assigned to each role and 3 held onto as alternates. I don't know why I am relaying that information. It doesn't matter. Simbardo himself acted as the mock prison superintendent, and he had an undergrad research assistant that took on the role of the warden.
Just 1970s Eli, and I'm the sexy secretary. Cut it out. Take this seriously.
Dude, why are you crawling through a septic pipe? What are you doing?
I don't get the question.
You're one of the guards. You're a guard. It's a fake thing, but you're a guard.
Sexy guard.
I still don't understand the experiment here. The same number of guards as there were inmates, you cannot make a profit off a prison that way.
Right? I thought the same thing. Like, how many anuses can you pack full of meth before you've just saturated the market?
Noah.
My question assumes a constant rate of anal capacity and is therefore meaningless. So, the experiment was conducted in a tiny little section of a basement in Stanford's psych building where they fabricated a mock jail with only one way in, one way out, and 10 cells cordoned off. Each cell was 6 foot by 9 foot, contained only a cot for the prisoners. And if you notice that you have one more cell now than prisoner, well done, reward yourself with a cookie. That one was reserved for solitary confinement and was even more isolated. Now, the guards, on the other hand, were given plenty of room to relax away from the prison environment.
Was there a required occupancy rate? How many empty beds did the taxpayer have to pay for?
Cecil, you don't seem to like prisons very much. I mean, you're awfully hard to. I think the Sorting Hat would make you a guard. It would just definitely say guard.
Is that a Golden Compass reference?
God damn it, Harry Potter!
How dare you?
You son of a bitch!
How
You
dare
knew
you?
that one!
Usually it's Heath that quits the show. Eli's gone now. Now, I think, to be fair, I should point out, they did take some safety precautions here. They at least somewhat recognized what they were getting into. So they started things off by laying out some ground rules for the guards. They were not allowed to physically abuse the prisoners or withhold food or drink from them. Now, I feel like as soon as it occurs to you that you need to spell those things out, it should also occur to you shouldn't be doing this fucking experiment. But, whatever. It would have made for a pretty boring episode if they'd just wisened up here.
All of a sudden, Eli's waterboarding himself. Fuck, man, jeez, we need another whiteboard for these rules. It doesn't seem like you would need to say that you can't do it yourself. Not touching, can't get mad. Yeah, I know, but the water is to feel like that was obvious. All right.
Yeah, how do you even establish a safe word in that scenario for yourself? Like the noose is getting too tight and you're blacking out, but you're almost there and you want to call it quits, but not just. Why is everybody looking at me like that? It's not just me.
It's because of the hand motion.
Is it just me? It's just, fuck. We've all been there. We've all been there.
No, Tom, it is not just you. David Carradine, Albert Decker, Michael Hutchins, Hyde.
Jesus, how many of these do you know?
Let him finish.
Stephen Milligan, Vaugh Bode, Kevin Gilbert, Franzek Kartswara.
Are you done, Eli?
Daryl the Magician, I'm done.
Pretend you're done. Pretend you're done.
All right, good. All right. So now I should point out that Zimbardo did explicitly allow the guards to, quote, create in the prisoners a sense of boredom, a sense of fear to some degree. And he also told them that, quote, you can create a notion of arbitrariness that their life is completely controlled by us, by the system, you, me, and they have no privacy, end quote. Yeah, and then he turned around his chair and started stroking a white cat. Yeah.
Bulk metadata.
Yeah, so build a basic office cube farm. Yeah. All right, got it. All right.
For those at home, Tom owns 10 of those. He's the president of the United States, the secret ones.
We don't get Caucasians, yes. So, last thing before we get going, if you want to pull this thing off, you're going to have to get the wardrobe ring right. So they dressed the prison guards up like prison guards and even gave them wooden batons to establish their status, as well as mirrored sunglasses to prevent eye. Yeah, hard to imagine how they're going to misuse that. But yeah, also gave mirrored sunglasses to prevent eye contact. And then the prisoners wore intentionally uncomfortable and ill-fitting smocks, stocking caps, and a chain around one ankle.
The Amish living experiment.
They're not allowed to have anklets. But other than that, yeah. So, and also the guards were told to refer to the prisoners only by their assigned numbers, never by their actual names.
Oh, just like, I'm warning you, 24601.
I'm warning you, Javert.
You want to make a musical after this?
Yeah. Can you sing? Did you say musical?
So
I'm Wolverine.
Now, of course, it's not enough to just have all the people show up and have somebody say, 3, 2, 1, go. So instead, Zimbardo arranges to have the 9 prisoners arrested. Like, really arrested. Like, the local police actually helped them out by sending real cops to their houses, arresting them for armed robbery, and then taking them through the actual booking process before taking them to the mock prison.
Seems like a odd bit of fun. Just like, no, Mom, it's for school. Stop crying. It's for school.
All right, so now we have 9 helpless, barely legal frat boys in ill-fitting smocks caged in a basement.
Yep.
And I, for one, am uncomfortable getting this close to knowing what it's like to be Eli. So we'll leave the story there for now. Take a quick break for everyone's favorite mid-episode thing with a music interlude. Apropos of nothing.
All right, gentlemen, welcome to the Stanford prison experiment. I'll, of course, be playing the warden. So, guys, this is serious. Okay. This is serious. Okay, so just a couple of quick ground rules. Obviously, half of you are prisoners, half of you are guards. No rough stuff. And remember, the goal here is to...
Hi, sorry, real quick. Quick question. When you say no rough stuff...
yeah, I mean that you can't... hit your classmates for this experiment.
Can't hit classmates.
That's a good question.
Very important
Got it.
that you have that right. Okay. Also, no holding back food or water, obviously.
Wait. Like at all?
Oh, I quit the prison.
Yeah, I quit too.
I quit. Absolutely quit.
Sorry, wait. Can I ask a question?
All right, 6498. This is your cell.
Cool. Thanks, Daryl.
I'm not Daryl. I'm guard 23.
Okay, Daryl. Thanks, man. See you in chemistry next week. Hey, that Professor Davidson, huh?
Look, you're going to get me into trouble. Look, just call me guard 23, please.
Okay, guard 23. You got it, guard
Stop
23.
winking at me.
You're the best. See you around, man.
Hey, fresh meat.
Oh, hey, I didn't know anyone else was in here.
New fish.
Dude, don't sniff me like that. You're being super weird.
Meg is lonely in here, day in, day out. No companionship.
They just started this experiment like 2 hours ago.
No physical contact.
Aren't you the president of the LARP club?
You look good in that jumpsuit, boy.
This old ill-fitting frock? Yeah, it fucking itches like hell.
You should take it off.
Look, man, if you keep this up, I'm going to kick the shit out of you.
You think it's that easy? You wouldn't be the first motherfucker I shanked.
1, yes, I would. And 2, that's a popsicle stick, not a shank. It's not even broken or jagged. It's still round on the end.
Yeah, old Betsy and I seen some shit. Anyway, Betsy.
You named your popsicle stick?
Man, get lonely in here. Don't turn your back on me. I've forgotten more ways to kill someone with this than you'll ever know, boy.
I have no doubt you've eaten your fair share of popsicles.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna get it now. Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt!
This is going to be the stupidest $15 I ever earned.
Oh, immune to electrical damage, huh, boy? Magic missile! Magic missile!
That's your poop. You're throwing your poop, dude.
Get him, Betsy!
And we're back. When we last left off, an elaborate gay porn had been introduced. Well, like medium elaborate.
I didn't know you were the arbiter on this. Okay. I'll let it go.
I mean, like, it's not that creative. Like, it's like kind of, it's a prison, it's 9, whatever. It's like medium. It's like medium. It's like a normal gay porn had been established. We had 9 nubile college students locked away in a basement, and 9 more ready to assert their authority with wooden batons. Again, like meat. It's like normal. It's like normal. Anyway, now that everybody's lubed up, Noah, what happens next?
Okay, so day 1 is pretty uneventful. That will be the last time I'll say that about any day, because on day 2, things start getting a little hairy.
Well, it was the 70s. Chances are things were pretty hairy all along.
Those were the days, eh, Cecil?
Well, that was just normal looking pubes. Yeah. So, I mean beard, whatever it is that you have on your face. So the prisoners on day 2 decide to stage a little insurrection by barricading the doors with their cots, taking off their stocking caps, and refusing to follow the guards' instructions. The guards responded by attacking them with fire extinguishers. Now, I'm assuming that means like spraying them, like spraying the flame retardant on them, but all it says in the article is attacking them with fire extinguishers. So if you want some ninja moves in your imagination, that's fine too, I guess.
Waterboarding.
Day 2, gotta say, not great when decorum and sanity last less than a Friends marathon.
Yeah, right. Yeah, apparently the Lord of the Flies just gave him too damn many chapters at the beginning. So about 36 hours in, one of their test subjects popped.
That's some Kama Sutra level edging right there. You know what I mean? Jesus.
That's a way better experiment. That's next week's episode. We'll have another episode.
That's actually the fire extinguisher.
So prisoner number 8612, according to Zimbardo's notes, quote, began to act crazy, to scream, to curse, to go into a rage that seemed out of control. It took quite a while before we became convinced that he really was suffering and we had to release him. Again, that's 36 hours in, and it would take about 108 more before they started thinking maybe they should call this off.
Fuck. Now, hold on. He might become somebody's bitch. That could be fulfilling. Let's let this play out. See what happens.
I still think prisoner 8612 was just reacting to how crazy shit got on day 2. He was just like, get the fuck out. What's going on?
Right?
Seriously? We went to sleep, we woke up, everyone's crazy?
That's honestly might be the only sane reaction to this. Yeah, so by day 3, the guards are torturing their wards with gusto. Apparently, they started with verbal abuse and protracted forced exercise. This quickly escalated to shit like, taking away their mattresses and making them sleep on the floor, taking away their clothes as a means of humiliation, and then forcing them to shit in buckets, which they were only allowed to empty if they were well-behaved and followed all the guards' orders.
See, this is why white people can't be going to jail.
Oh, God.
Wait, jeez. Should be going to jail more? What would he learn about white people? Learn something about white people here.
Aren't we supposed to be finding out what makes the guards snap? Because I got to say, I'm with Heath here. So far, all I think we've established through rigorous scientific methodology is that rich white college boys don't like prison, which I guess is why we don't send them there no matter how many women they rape.
10 minutes of action should not condemn my son to a lifetime of poop buckets.
All right. Next time someone criticizes college students these days, I'm going to remind them that 18 of your Stanford students couldn't make it 3 days in a room without buckets full of shit and fire extinguishers.
Now, by day 4, they started hearing rumors that
rumors? Like they started to hear, like they weren't closely monitoring this? Like they were just hanging back and waiting to see like who emerges from the Thunderdome they created? How's it going? I don't know. We're not really looking.
some shit about it on Twitter.
Or on the water cooler.
Now, I don't have to say this very often, but let me finish, Tom. Let me finish. This is something outside the experiment. So they heard rumors that the one prisoner that they'd released was planning a prison break to liberate the people still stuck inside the experiment. Now, that never came to fruition, but Zimbardo took it seriously enough that he actually had the whole prison broken down and moved to a new location just to make sure.
Wouldn't that be amazing if that's how every prison responded to a potential breakout? Like just a bunch of barges out there trying to move Alcatraz.
What are you talking about? This is a little fishing island. It always has been.
They changed location. These are college students. How about like, no, Steve, we're still doing the experiment. I'm going to give you a D. Go away.
All right, so I have one more quick example of the abuse before we mercifully move on to the conclusion of the study. This is prisoner 416, and he was brought in as a stand-in for the guy that they had to release earlier.
Hold on, how come they didn't make them in order? There's like 4 digits,
right.
like 3 digits prisoners, but there's 9 prisoners. What the fuck? Just 1 through 9? No,
it's such bullshit. It's like when you walk into the deli and there's like 3 people and you get number 126. Come on, man, fuck you. You know you haven't had 126 customers. Yeah, so apparently 416 started complaining about the abuse that he saw against the other prisoners, so the guards decided to abuse him instead. And he's like, I wasn't saying it wasn't even, guys. Eventually, this dude goes on a hunger strike, and the guards respond by putting him in solitary confinement, which was just like a little tiny closet that they had there, and then making the other prisoners punch the door periodically.
I missed my old studio apartment in New York.
To be fair, the closest Heath has ever gotten to a hunger strike is telling a waitress to bring out the appetizers and entrees at the same time.
That's a terrible mistake. Never forget.
That's closer than I've ever gotten. I consider it a hunger strike if I don't have a snack in the car on the way to dinner. Sometimes I get a weird look when I break out the waiting ham, but whatever, don't be judgy.
I just see he puts it in his mouth and just pulls the bone out, yeah.
What? Yeah, I mean, don't make me wait if you don't want me to eat the waiting ham. I feel like that's perfectly reasonable, Tom. I feel like everybody's laughing at you, and that's not an unreasonable thing to do. To have a waiting ham.
Why they call it
is a great
waiting
idea.
ham? Come on, it's in the
I'm
name.
gonna get myself a waiting ham.
No.
That's what's been decided.
Quick before you run out to the store.
Tom divorced his, so she's open.
What other waiting stuff do you have?
This week's episode is
ham?
brought to you by Hormel. So now I want to point out again that
I'm really hungry.
all right. So now I want to point out again that Zimbardo, as you'll recall, is observing this the whole time. This is not a set it and forget it kind of situation. He was carefully observing all of this, dutifully taking notes about it.
Interesting code word for masturbation. But go on. Yeah.
I've been dutifully taking notes of your Facebook pictures.
No, as much as I'd love to say at this point that even Zimbardo had to admit by now that the experiment needed to end, but apparently starving kids locked in a closet with a bucket of shit wasn't quite enough to pull the plug in his mind.
You gotta wonder, what was the hypothesis that he hadn't reached yet?
Yeah,
at this point?
right.
Like day 5, he's just watching. It's like a horse race. Like rim job in the 5th. Come on, come on. Butt sex in the backstretch. Butt sex in the backstretch.
That's just what it sounds like when I'm watching a horse race. Yeah. So no, but apparently what it did
You got to
take.
stretch the back, actually. Not too much.
So now, apparently, though, what it did take to end the whole thing was Zimbardo's girlfriend saying she would rip off his dick and beat him to death with it if he didn't let these poor kids out. Because apparently it was only her vocal insistence that eventually prompted Zimbardo to end the experiment early.
See, this is why we brought wives to ReasonCon.
So that it didn't end in shit buckets?
So that we knew when we had enough shit buckets.
Yeah.
I need somebody to tell me when there's enough shit buckets.
You're such a romantic. Now,
And done.
That's the line you used to propose. I need someone to tell me when there's enough shit buckets.
that's why he's still single right there.
When is a shit bucket full? Like, does it have to reach the top?
I think
Like, or is it just when it splashes back?
I think the very first moment there's something in it. It's full.
Yeah.
And it needs to be
You can
emptied.
get like surface tension better than water with that. It's not. It's like you can get a dome going. Obviously, nobody has enough experience with shit buckets besides me to be talking about this.
All right. So if you'd like to marry Heath, please. We all need it, I think. All right. So I want to point out to you, just because this experiment was an ethical disaster doesn't mean we can't learn anything from it. I mean, you know, I had an older brother, so I don't feel like anybody had to demonstrate to me the ease with which people in authority can slip into sadistic behavior, but not everyone had that advantage. If you'll recall, the original question they were trying to answer was whether the chief contributor to prisoner abuse was individual psychology. And while nothing was, proven by this experiment, it's pretty hard to reconcile with that model. Basically, you give people batons and permission to torture their peers, and people will most often take it and run.
Kind of like House Republicans, but with dark money instead of batons.
Yeah. Is that the conclusion? Did they try it without psychopaths? Seriously, like, we could do it. Tom could do push-ups. Cecil could jog around in a little circle. Heath could do exactly what he does already. If Noah was a guard, his job would change literally not at all. I'm just saying.
Hold on, though. I don't think you'd be allowed to tweet.
Okay, so I'd hang myself, but 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5.
When did my thing become jogging anyway?
Yeah, Eli. He can sword fight.
He can, Noah. But should he? Should he?
I don't think that's a hard question. You're acting like it's a hard question. So to be clear, not every guard reacted the same, but of the 9, 3 were judged to have exhibited, quote, genuine sadistic tendencies, end quote. And one could argue that Zimbardo, who had the option to pull the plug at any time, also exhibited a few.
Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan is what I said.
In case you can hear it around the coughing.
He's the Speaker of the House. It's terrible.
He could pull the plug
I thought he was
at
just
any
casting
time.
like an asthma spell on him.
So now, of course, there is a lot more to criticize about this study than the torturing college students parts. I think most people focus on that when they're criticizing it. But I also should point out that with Zimbardo so involved in the experiment, it was impossible for him to remain a neutral observer, which makes it kind of crappy science. Plus, the nature of the study demanded that any observations were going to be anecdotal and subjective. And we're also talking about a sample size of 9 with no meaningful control for comparison.
Yes, Stanford. You should have been torturing thousands of people minimum for this to be useful. So.
Right?
See, we can do this. 2 votes.
No.
2 votes.
I'm in.
3 votes.
No.
No.
Ruiner.
You really need to be dispassionate about the torture of people. Like, separate yourself by 1 or 2 levels. Just ask the average person about Gitmo.
I don't speak to average people. They're poor, usually.
No.
They're average.
Now, I also want to throw out another interesting objection to the methodology that I saw on Wikipedia here. Researchers at Western Kentucky University did a study where they put out ads for like a psychological study, and then they put out ads as well for a prison experiment. Now, it turns out that the people who responded to the prison experiment ads tended to rank way higher on psychological markers for authoritarianism, aggression, and social dominance. So it is at least possible that the Stanford prison experiment, like the way they solicited subjects, may have created a selection bias that doomed things from the start.
Authoritarianism and aggression. Are you sure it wasn't just because they were limiting themselves to Kentuckians?
Just them after the interview. That's like the 8th guy who's asked what race the prisoners are going to be. I think we need to do this in a state with a road, man. It's like one of them fancy
But how are we going to get there?
I'm an average person.
Would it have helped if they just like screened people for being psychopaths first? Like this whole thing just feels incredibly backwards. Like, okay, here's the key to my house. I'm trusting you with the safety of my children. They go to bed around 8 and they can have snacks in the fridge. Oh, when I get home tonight, I'm totally going to check your references.
Now, I didn't mention this, but they did actually do psychological tests on the prisoners or on the prison guards beforehand, but those have been criticized as being way too peripheral and not going in depth at all. Now, I should also point out that a few efforts have made to do similar but more ethically constrained studies.
Nailed it.
Yeah, you did. And all the evidence from those seems to show that the results of the Stanford prison experiments were not representative of basic human psychology.
Double nailed it.
So, yeah, it's just these fucking white guys. It's entirely possible that the only tangible result of this study is the government actually paid for prison guards to torture white people for a change. So at least we have that. But again, all jokes aside, Zimbardo was almost certainly not a sadist who found a good excuse to torture some 20-year-olds. And I know I said that up front, but it's important to emphasize that point because most people look at this study as the actions of a madman with too much power and not enough oversight. And I would say it would be a genuine challenge to more thoroughly miss the point of this study.
What if I said it disproved all of gender studies?
All right, Noah. So if you had to summarize what you've learned in one sentence, what would it be?
This happened in 1971. We should have already predicted that their swimmers would be rapists.
I learned that Noah has a brother.
All right. So you broke down the subject, and now it's time to face a series of questions from our panel. Noah, are you ready?
I literally do not even know what not ready would look like, Heath.
All right, I'll go first. I think we can all agree that the Stanford prison experiment was a clunky, off-putting name, and PR is everything. Which nickname is just what Dr. Zigga Zigga Ah ordered?
Zamboni.
Is it A, bucket filling for the willing? B, how to succeed in witness without really dying? C, Big Brother season -12? Or D, Election 2020?
All right, got to admit, I'm not really sure here, but I'm going to go with D, Election 2020, in the hopes that that will also be remembered for finally getting to dump a bucket of shit.
But only if we behave ourselves. That is correct.
All right. Not to be outdone by Stanford, other Ivy League colleges decided they needed their own overly elaborate human rights abuse-based experiments of their own.
Not an Ivy League college.
Which of the below is not an Ivy League school? A, the Harvard mock execution protocols. B, the Yale child soldier trials. C, the Princeton human trafficking study.
Visiting Professor Andy Wilson.
Professor Emeritus, I believe you mean. Or D, the Duke lacrosse rape tryouts.
Also not an Ivy League college. Fine.
Well, if I've only learned one thing from Twitter, it's that the one with rape allegations is always false. So I'm going to go with D because Duke is not an Ivy League school.
Neither is Stanford.
That's right. That's right. I looked that up, I think.
Can you be a walk-on for the rape tryouts?
Get red-shirted? I
You
don't
can
know.
crawl up.
What's the combine for that?
Oh, God.
What is this?
What does the vertical even mean?
There is a whistle.
There is a whistle. There may be a guy cheering you on, too.
Can you get a penalty? What do you have to
More
do?
about the horizontal than the vertical in this one. Noah, I've got a question for you as well. Which of the following would have totally fixed the Stanford prison experiment and made it completely worth doing? Is it A, the magnetic ski boots from Face Off? Is it B, affirmative action? Is it C, first-hand peer review by the guys over at Skeptic Magazine? Or is it D, Morgan Freeman narrating the whole thing?
All right, I am very tempted to go with A, but I noticed you didn't specify that those boots would come with Nick Cage in them. So I feel like that was a trick. I'm going to go with B since I get points off my white guilt every time I publicly call for more affirmative action. So they should have beat up some black kids too.
Noah wants affirmative action to get more white people in jail. That's on record. And yes, that's the correct answer.
Awesome.
All right, Noah. While the experiment is roundly criticized, some of the participants didn't think it was all that bad. What's the most common good memory of the fake prison? A, nearly permanent ballpoint tattoos.
Those are very good.
B, chow line riot pillow fight. C, reading comic books with your flashlight after lights out.
It's fun. Not to be
Or
underestimated.
D, prison sex.
Oh, wow. Man, I was going to answer B, chow line riot pillow fight, but then I considered how unlikely it would be that the right answer and Tom and Eli's Salt and Pepper cover band would share the same name. So I'm going to go
We're going places with
the
that.
same answer that earned me such a high score on the SATs, D, prison sex.
Sorry. It was actually. Your first instincts were right. It was chow line pillow fight.
Should always go with your first instinct. Damn it.
All right. Well, congratulations, Cecil. You were the first one to stump our expert, which makes you this week's winner. You'll be taking over as host next week, and it's up to you to decide who does all the work next week as well. So, of the four of us, who would you like to burden the most?
This is easy.
Don't be me, don't be me, don't be me, don't be me, don't be me.
Who do you
don't
like
be
to
me.
burden?
Thanks, Tom.
God damn it.
And, of course, also included in your victory gift bag is reading the answer to last week's Twitter question. Go.
Last week's Twitter question was, in J. Edgar Hoover's government surveillance-themed gay bar called I'd Tap That, what would have been their best-selling item? The winner was James E., or at Mo Cowbell on Twitter, who said, Harvey Stallbanger.
I love it.
What question do we have for the tweeters this week?
So the question this week is, what is the school mascot for a university where you go where you can major in prison experiment studies?
I believe it's the Cardinal.
If you're interested in answering that question, all you have to do is retweet our show or Facebook share our show with your answer, and you could be on next week's show when we read your answer.
All right. Well, for Cecil, Eli, Noah, and Tom, I'm Heath. Thank you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week, and by then, Tom will be an expert on something else. Between now and then, you can hear more of Eli, Noah, and myself on The Scathing Atheist, The Skeptic Rat, and God Awful Movies. And less than half as often, you can hear Tom and Cecil on the Cognitive Dissonance Podcast. Our theme music was composed and performed by Anna Bosnick and was used with permission. And if you'd like to help keep this show going, you can make a per-episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod. Or leave us a 5-star review everywhere you can do that. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, check out past episodes, connect with us on social media, or check the show notes. Be sure to check out citationpod.com for all that stuff. And get your stupid children neutered or spayed.
At least the average one.
Like the dumb ones and the average ones. If they're not above average, get them neutered or spayed, yes.
Oh, thank you.
And then everyone will be above average.
One, yes, I would. And two, that's a popsicle stick, not a yeah, you can't laugh, Tom. We're in the same, we're on the same one. I'm going to get it. We're going to get it. One.
I'm hiding my head in my shirt. I can't.
Okay, here we go. I just hear Heath. Now I got to mute Heath. All right, okay.
Yeah, no, I'll mute both of us. I'll mute my end.
Yes, I would. Hold on a second.
I just picture Eli with a popsicle
I know, with a little
stick.
popsicle stick. I
He's
love
so
it. I love it.